Next is from Jared Aviat, and the subject is a ludicrous defense of Japanese women wrestlers. Hey, K100 fam, thanks as always for taking my question. Now, we don't always take your question, Jared Aviat, because you've been banned. Has Jared Aviat been banned more than anybody in this mailbag before?
I think he's the record holder, yeah.
He is the record holder, okay. So actually this is kind of like this whole thing, hi K100 fam, thanks as always for taking my question. That's disingenuous to me. Would you agree with that, Konnan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to quickly get your thoughts on Kenneth Omega's recent thoughts on how Japanese Joshi wrestlers are negatively reviewed in the U.S. I was hearing the violins play in the background whilst reading Twinkle Toes talk about how unfairly American fans received the Japanese female wrestlers. He said that people have been fun of them for not being able to speak English, or people make fun of the way they sound. I think he's going for the racist fake outrage take here. How about admitting that instead of playing the race card, it's because the promotion not giving a backstory on any of them, majority of them act like little kids, their facial expressions are bland, and the Japanese Hello Kitty gimmicks aren't exactly something that the mainstream audience can identify with. Did you hear his comments, Konnan? Did you read these? Let me read the comments.
I'm listening to them right now for the first time.
Okay, so here's his comment. I'm gonna read you Kenny Omega's comments. Okay, it's just 2 paragraphs short. A lot of our international talent, they come to this country not really expecting everyone to be as relentless and ruthless and have a shred of humanity. Omega said, "It's unfortunate that that's not the case. So it's not the world that they came into. You know, it catches them off guard and it surprises them to feel so hated so suddenly." And they need to understand that doesn't represent everyone's feelings. That people literally have nothing else better to do than to go out of their way and create an account to tell them that this, that, or the other, something negative anyway, probably not just about wrestling, probably about the way that they look or that the way they sound or not being able to speak English. All of that. It's really sad. Cases with Shida, Maka Ito, Riho, Yuka Sakazaki, when I hear about what some of these pathetic would say because they think somebody else that has a podcast or platform to say something negative, that's a shot at us, they think that makes it okay. The Joshi wrestlers are so much more refined. They train 7 days a week and are so much more smooth and professional. We've never once had any sort of backstage political issue with the Joshi wrestlers. They do whatever they can, whatever is asked of them. And okay, so let me finish the mailbag here. That's the thing. So my question for the crew is, have you read his comments? We just did. And what are your thoughts on these comments? Can women Joshi wrestlers from Japan ever capture a mainstream audience if presented in a certain way? Thank you. All the best, Jared. I would tell Kenny Omega, dude, you right there in that last paragraph gave us the reason why these girls are not over. You say, this is what you say. They train 7 days a week, are so much more smooth and professional, and we have never once had any sort of backstage political issue with the Joshi wrestlers. That's great. Show that story on TV and describe that to us. Like, you just sitting here saying that does not resonate on TV when we're watching these girls come out and we have no clue who they are or know anything about them. If you know this about them, produce some vignettes and videos and show that these are their qualities, which they do not do. I mean, that's, this is not hating and everything. You're literally making the case of why these girls are not over. You're not telling their stories. You're not telling me who they are. You're not telling me they train 7 days a week or showing that already. You're just like, they just come out on TV. They look like schoolgirls and like they're performing and stuff, but I don't know anything about them. Do you agree with that, Konnan?
Well, I'm going to go a little bit deeper than this. So the problem here is, I face the same problem with Mexican talent that doesn't get over for certain reasons. Mm-hmm. And so obviously, from what I understand, he recommended a lot of these girls. He works with these girls. So there's a personal, emotional attachment that most people don't have. So obviously it frustrates him. Mm-hmm. But bro, let's be serious. He just named all the wrestlers' names that he named in there.
Rio, Sakazawa.
Let me read the names. Let me read the names. Okay. It's hang on. Where's this? Oh, here, I got the wrong article here. Okay, here are the girls. Riho, Shida, Maki Ito, and Yuka Sakazaki.
Okay, so when I think back 20 years ago, when I used to watch Japanese women's wrestling, which I loved, who of these girls could you compare to somebody like
Bull Nakano,
Manami Toyota, Bull Nakano, Aja Kong, Hakuto? I don't think you can. No. That's number one. Number two, you just mentioned all these girls, Riho, Shido,
Yuka
whatever their names
Sakazaki.
are. Right. They've all been there 1 to 3 years. Who has gotten over? Bro, language barrier is a big deal. That's why Andrade isn't over. Okay? And oh wow, we have a racist element in our ranks. big shock, right? I mean, come on, you know, you're gonna get that everywhere, bro. I remember when I went to Japan and I went to FMW with Onita, and I went to New Japan. I went to clubs where they wouldn't let gaijin in. They just wouldn't let, you know, if you weren't Japanese, or they wouldn't let you in. But I didn't look at all Japanese like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's gonna be that make remarks, but let's be real. They haven't gotten over, and it's your guys' fault because they're not entertaining. And then you get mad. What have you done, like Cisco says, to show that they're entertaining? You know,
to show that they train 7 days a week. They train I have no idea about this. Right?
I love working with the Japanese. They're honorable. They have better training methods. They're respectful. You know, they're hard workers. We don't see none of that. You know, you just expect everybody to know who they are.
Right.
It's bad enough you expect us to know who everybody in New Japan is. Now we need to know who all the female girls are in smaller groups that aren't, I don't even think, on TV.
Yeah.
Bro, you got to help you. Uncle, meet us halfway, you know? So you got to put personality profiles on these people, give them gimmicks, you know, humanize them.
Yeah, good point. Next is from Sean Richard, and the subject is great. Just to your point, it's like there's a reason why, you know, like of the Mexican wrestlers that, like you brought up, a handful of them got over and a handful of them didn't. Who are the ones that got over? The ones that could speak good English. Eddie Guerrero elevated himself into a world champion in the WWE because not only could he speak English very well, he would cut a good English-speaking promo and had personality and had, like, you know, so like, you know, that there's not the Russo always used to get for this, you know, like and back in the day, it's like you could see it, you know. People think he's racist for not pushing Japanese guys, not pushing Mexicans. He would say, dude, I write TV. As a TV character, if you're not speaking English, it's difficult to write you into the program. You know, and like this, but you have to do the work. You can't just present them and say, you know, go ahead.
I'm not trying to get on Russo because if I say this, oh, good guy, no, I'm asking you a question.
Right.
Did he not make a statement once where he said, "I'm from New York. I don't really give a about Mexicans or Japanese," which is a true statement. You know, a lot of Italian people don't give a about anything that isn't Italian. A lot of Cubans don't give a about anything that isn't Cuban.
Right. But that's coming from there. That's not him, a personal thing. That's echoing a lot of fans.
Right.
So if you're echoing the fan, if that's what the fans think, okay,
but when you say that in public, it makes it sound like, all right, so you're the writer, and since you don't give a about what other people are watching that might be Japanese or Mexican or Cuban.
Right.
You can't think of what you can't. You're not writing for yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But then again, but you can't sit there and say Vince didn't write for Mexican characters. You, Ray, Hoover, just like the guys that were over got written into the show that could act and perform and do the things, the charismatic things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, like there's a reason Halloween and 666 didn't really get over that much. They had masks, they didn't speak English, they were talented, but it's like, okay, what do I do with these guys when I have the other Mexican guys that can speak English? You know, so it's like it's easier to write TV when you can communicate with the other wrestlers on the show. So
Silver King, did Silver King speak English, Conan?
No, he does not know. He needed to too because he could have gotten over.
He was good, yeah.
You know, he was a decent look. He was a good looking kid, a good looking guy. You know, and he could work. It's like, but he couldn't speak English. So